Hello, Divine Feminine. I'm staring up at the sky. It's a little cloudy, but I can see the stars. Whenever I see the stars, I think of you. I know you were always fascinated with them. It wasn't until I took that trip not too long ago that I finally got to see what the stars really looked like away from the city lights, the trees. I remember you took us camping that one time, and I did see them through the trees, but it is different, isn't it? When you're out in the plains. I know you tried to tell me about it. I always felt like you were so cultured. You'd been at least some places. Maybe not too far away, but you'd been to a few. I always felt like you were so high caliber in comparison to me. Like it was so tangible to me that, I mean, they say they're street smart and book smart, but I feel like you could hold degrees in both, multiple. And that, like, I mean, even if I was to light a candle and try to hold it next to yours, it would be like a tea light next to one of those really long tapered dinner candles, really fancy, expensive ones. It just felt like I could never compare to you. Like, I remember we had that argument about me feeling comparable, and like, what I wish that I had said to you when you were telling me how incomparable I was, and you were listing all these ways that you found that I was far too incomparable to ever be worried about you seeing anyone else as like me. And you know what's stupid is it was that I was worried that I was comparable, but I was worried that I was comparable to the kinds of guys that you really shouldn't be with and never would be with. I still remember when we met, and I wanted you to go back to school. I knew you had something better ahead for you. And I tried so hard to stay away. Just like now, just like during this separation. You wouldn't even know, like, I realized a long time ago that I got myself into an incredible mess. And there was always a part of me that had hoped that you would come in and rescue me, but I also just wanted you to just go and live your life. Because I felt like if I could so easily be fooled and land myself into such a deep mess, just like you told me that I would if I kept my arrogance and my pride and I ran off like I did. And I felt like, my life is not predictable. It's the luck of the draw. Look who I grew up with. Look what I chose when I had you. All because I felt inadequate. It wasn't that I felt so much comparable, but I felt inadequate. You could sit there and list. I still remember so many times you made me list of like 40 different reasons you love me. 40 different ways that I'm incomparable to any other human being. Like, you could go on, and you would find more reasons, and it felt like the best thing ever for my self-esteem, but then I couldn't reciprocate, and it felt like I couldn't reciprocate because all I had was feelings. I didn't have the words, and I wanted to give you words so bad. You needed them so much, too. You were in such an emotional space. And I don't know, Divine Feminine, I guess I felt like it wasn't that I would ever be comparable to other guys. It's that I could never be comparable enough to you to be as incomparable as you are. But I don't know how you did it. I know it was you, and somehow you did it. It's almost like you knew that everything that is happening would happen, but years before. And I know that you've been kind of an oracle ever since I met you, even before you realized it. I saw it. And I feel like somehow it's like when you go on those trips and you'd talk to my family and talk to yours and make sure that if I needed anything, that they were right there if I couldn't do it on my own. Like, you never set it up so they had to do it so that I didn't do it on my own. But if I didn't do it, like if I just worked and didn't eat, like you would make sure that somebody would show up if I needed it, the lasagna or something, you know. And I feel like somehow, I don't know if it's you, maybe it's that 5D self you talk about, maybe it's some ancestors that just want me to know that it's for you. I don't know. But it feels like somehow you've placed these like cushions, these breadcrumbs in these different places, and it's like half of them are just memories, but they work so well. The other half are the people that you've made sure stay around me. And I know you, and you don't say everything. I used to think that you were completely open book, and you are. You live authentically, but that doesn't mean that you reveal all. That's one of the things that I love about you that I wish I had told you many times. You don't necessarily require that people earn getting to know you, but you don't give away the whole cow. You don't rush things. You don't treat people like things or relationships. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about how you do things lately because I swear in these moments, especially like the harder that I try to push away seeing you, talking with you, talking about things, it's like the more I find myself in positions where I would have asked you for help, where I would have vented to you or called you or come to see you or tried to get one of those hugs from you that I know I have to wait to have now. And I can never think of anything to do other than what you have told me to do. Especially because all the times that I listened to my ego and all the things that I jumped and did, I mean, as we both know, I'm in a big old me mess. Divine masculine mess. And learning my karma. And when I sit and I think about how following my pride instead of my intuition, like a wise feminine told me, that it's just made the molehill into a bigger mountain. And I know that I need to start correcting that like now. And when I think about how to do that, well, you're the only example that I have. And I feel like I've known you so long and that we've influenced each other so much that like you're the main voice in my heart. I want to say in my head, but it's not. You're the main voice in my heart. There's lots of voices in my head. Big family, you know. A lot of people who all want my attention and my resources and everything else. And so, but you're the only voice in my heart. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Have healthy boundaries. Be reverent. Look for the magic in life. Own your shit. Face it head on. Don't placate. Take care of yourself. Treat your body like a temple. Chase your dreams and don't ever let anyone get in the way of that. These are some of my favorite things that you have told me and or taught me and or shown me. And now, Divine Feminine, when I look up at these stars and I think about you and your love of all the stars and the data that they hold, how much they've helped you learn about me and about yourself, I think about them more. I think about the cycles. I think about how much I used to love such similar things. And I think about what's ahead, what I know is coming, which is where I come back from the future, which is in a funny sort of way where I've been. It's something I'll have to explain a little more to you when we reconnect in the, I don't know if it's the 3D anymore, it's more of the 4D, but you know what I mean. When we reconnect, I'll have some stories for you about how, like, it felt like, while only a short amount of time passed here and passed between us, that decades went by for me. It felt like my life just rushed past me and I grew old in karmic relationships, just fighting like a dog every day of my life for almost nothing, and losing everything, including you, in ways that I could never forgive myself, where it was almost like Groundhog's Day. Just kept repeating over and over and over again. I kept thinking about all the times that I've tried to push you away, stay away, get you mad so that you would not get involved in this pirate circus, so that the leeches would not get you. And it felt like no matter how many times I tried to push you away, it just got worse, and you ended up getting hurt worse than if I had stayed connected. And then I got hurt worse, then everybody got hurt worse. But it feels like somehow, in some sort of weird dimension, that I've come back from that future. Like I've been given some sort of incredible, I don't want to call it a second chance, it feels like the second thousandth chance, but it feels like the first second chance that I'm aware of. And it feels like I'm back from the future. Like instead of going back to the future, it's like I'm back from the future. But I have all that knowledge still with me, all the fear of the nightmare of it. And all I want now is just to find my way back into your arms, where I can at least pretend sometimes that it all really was just a nightmare. I know so much time has passed that some of it actually has happened, and we can't go back to other timelines where it hasn't. But I also know that as a part of the nightmare future, I did learn a thing or two about this Twinflame stuff, and about you, and about myself, which I know is an important thing that you wanted me to go and learn when you called for this separation. You wanted me to figure out who I am, and what I want, and the difference between want and need. And I certainly have. And I look forward to showing to you that I have. First, I just have to catch up on some rest. And I have to allow a few things to play out, karmic cycle-wise. Because they are a part of my karma, and I now accept that instead of fighting it. And it was messy getting into it. It's going to be messy coming out of it, like birth. So I hope you're ready. Because in many ways, as the me here and the me from the future slam into each other, it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride for my 3D self. But I know that it'll be just the perfect, I want to say collision, but that's not quite it. It'll be amazing. I don't even know all the ways how. I just know that it will be. And that since you're so in love with stories, it'll make you fall in love with our story all over again. Almost like how it was when we met.